So hello everybody and welcome back to some more Warno League action here as we're back into Division 1 and we're back with a hot matchup here between Meddinator and Tiberius Rancor. Medi needs a win here to get through. Tiberius could go through with a draw but wants to get a win here to get the whole clean move to the playoffs as well. So it's an important matchup for the group for sure. And yeah, two strong players from the past. Tiberius, I would rank a bit higher, but Medi, always wild. And we are here on Hesse, and you can be wild on Hesse sometimes. So what do you think about the setup and the match, the division that Medi picked here for this matchup, Chlorite?
So 24th Infantry is known as the second-rate American Mechanized Infantry Division compared to the 8th Infantry, which is the first-rate div with the better units. But 24th can compensate by having more availability, having more IFVs, having lots of Bradleys, for instance, and by having both Eagles and Strike Eagles, so way better air component. And every once in a while, the American equipment being able to take it at the reservist prices can be a really good idea. And I'm already seeing that the cheap units here coming, the M60 National Guard's machine gun squads are taken and used and deployed, not defensively, but actually very aggressively. Seems like Medi wants to have these, have the military police, the National Guard's fire teams, and the National Guard's M60s build a very cheap and very numerous kind of firepower infantry squad or infantry formation. The Engineer Dragons there are, of course, a very good standard infantry pick for American divisions. And the NG fire teams, despite being only 6-man squads, are 25 points and have 2 medium machine guns themselves. So concentrating these units all around the military police, the 10-man full 10-man military police squad, not the small ones, I think this one does have potential to outtrade the good but still relatively limited French infantry. The French infantry is good, and you get a decent amount of them. They're deployed fast, and they're deployed in a powerful VAB, fast and heavily armored and pretty cheap VAB vehicles. But I'm very excited to see Medi try to use the kind of the benefits of 24th in infantry combat. We very rarely see that. 24th is known to be a very good long-range division, considering it has so many cheap and available and powerful ATGMs.
Yep, and the French infantry, it's more an anti-mech infantry. You pay extra for their strong anti-tank weapons with the Grenadier Voltigeurs and the extra AT there of the LRAC, or the Apilas, which have long range and decent firepower on the LRAC and fantastic firepower on the Apilas. But with only 1 MG, there are only mediocre infantry versus infantry units. So against a lot of soft targets, they are struggling. But the important part of Hesse often is the top part. And the question is, can Medi hold on to that against the French push and the French mechanized forces rolling in there? He tries to do it with a Kiowa and some ITOs. I'm not sure if that is enough.
I mean, the French can't really tank any of the ATGMs, so they're going to have to start taking out artillery to start actually hurting these ITOs. Otherwise, the ITOs, both available and cheap, will be able to outtrade. I would like to point out that the AMX-10 RC, the race car deployments are very well thought out, obviously trying to kill literally anything, covering all of the standard reinforcement routes and providing future fire support for the commandos that are going to try to move in there. The TOW Cobra is generally not the best pick because of the Tarasques, but the TOW Cobra protected by the 2 Phantoms is a completely different thing. TOW Cobra's weapons are just enough to remove singular infantry squads and likely will be able to run before the Tarasques get to it. And well, also on the southern side here, even though Medi's deployment is relatively conservative, taking the standard positions on the western side, on the blue side, there is nothing there to stop it. Even the cheaper, older dragons with their 14 pen of the engineered dragons will be able to penetrate both the AMX-10 RCs and the AMX-30s. If they manage to hit, that is, of course.
AMX is pushing in the north though, taking out some Itos already, revealing some others. The Toe Cobra heavily damaged there by the Tarask, still falling
Second
back, but
Cobra
might
coming.
be able to finish it off. Shooting now onto the Kiowa instead, splitting up the fire there a bit. And Kiowa and Toe Cobra might survive. Ito gets another kill, but the AMX is coming in for the capture. Good kill on the Mirage in the sky. I'm not quite sure why that was brought in by Tiberius, knowing about both Phantoms, like 1 versus 2 Phantoms with 20 ECM, but still 2 Phantoms. The Mirage 200 is not the best fighter. Meanwhile, Tokobra versus another TRM gets stunned down. VAB's pushing forward, and Tiberius got the +2, so Medi a bit under pressure point-wise, and Tiberius still pushing with some AMX 30s here. And the losses so far pretty light for Tiberius. All AMX 10 RCs still alive.
Yeah, the infantry attack covered by the tank forces, the AMX-10s up here in the middle, are facing only the NG fireteam leader, the Stinger, and now some reinforcements in the form of the CEV and Engineer's Flash. These right now, Medi's forces have realized that there's so much expensive mech equipment, especially with the AMX-10s, that that they're calling the bluff and moving all of their troops kind of freely around and taking positions. The Itos have only 4 shots, though they're not capable of doing extended defense. So just the amount of micro and the amount of vehicles that the French brought out, the Itos were simply not enough. The Toe Cobras couldn't get hits on the Tarasks and only managed to suppress them. So the Abrams coming here will have its work cut out for it. It's basically the only thing here that can stop this push. The Grenadier Voltigeurs have a very high range armored anti-tank weapon with a very good suppression. So even if it doesn't penetrate the Abrams, it'll be easy to make the Abrams combat ineffective if Medi drives it a bit closer, which is almost happening right now.
Yeah, the infantry of Medi getting killed off. The AMX-10 RC in the north speeding through as well, getting some nice kills there as well. And one IP Abrams trying to move around. The Tokobra's getting repaired, but the thrust really annoying there. And we have a Jaguar AT trying to come in. Phantoms still protecting the M1 IP. Doing a good job there. Getting a kill onto the Jaguar. So at least in the air, Medi is still doing fine. Has to be careful. Roll on 2 doesn't get a second shot off, so the Phantom will survive. But the M1 IP is the key unit now. That is not allowed to die. He needs to get something going with that. And pretty soon. Has some Bradleys coming in now with some Fireteam 84s. Loses the Kiowa in the north though. The TRM 2000, super annoying, super strong. A bit too strong in my eyes currently
just
for that price point.
But it's kind of silly.
Yeah, the Cobra now might at least get 1 killed. Could move forward, trying to hunt down the MX-10. There is still a second one. There is still the Rolands +3 for Tiberius still going on as Medi gets some captures in the south. Has that.
Oh, the Bradley manages to take out a smoked out AMX-30. There was some really good luck for Medi here in the middle, getting a kill after a streak of bad luck.
Gets an AMX-10 RC in the north as well. We start to see some trades here. We also have Medi's forces on the reinforcement road of Tiberius here. So Medi still not out of this game. The air victory is really important here. Otherwise, if the Jaguar AT would have killed the M1 IP, that would have been disaster here. National Guard leader, though, gets killed off. Should have maybe just jumped back into the M35 there. But CV going down, that will need replacement. That means the tick is going to continue. And Tiberius walking to try to retake the south now with infantry. And it might be possible, though Medi moving around the helicopters. If the helicopters can get some kills here against the infantry, that would be really helpful. AMX-10 firing onto the fire teams is a nuisance as well, and the kind of voltages in those buildings there. I'm not quite sure how Tiberius wants to deal with those.
Yeah, I guess the second Abrams and the CEVs mean that this is a full-on mech transition here. The mech units, one-on-one 424th, are better. American units are higher tech. And if the IP Abrams can be kept up here, they will be able to carry Medi straight up through the mid-game into the late game, as long as Tiberius doesn't get preferential close-range engagements or doesn't get enough ATGMs up here. And Medi seems to have enough capacity all around the map here that it's going to be difficult for Tiberius to start buying the exact units that they need for this exact fight here. But the Abrams are still kind of locked by the fact that they can't advance against the Grenadier Voltigeurs because of their AT weapons, and for them to be spotted requires infantry or recon to move into the firing range. So this is kind of a
Cobras going
stalemate.
down here. This is pretty bad for Medi, as they were here to help out holding the south, but without that, he's going to lose the south here. He can't hold on to November, or can't contest November any further, and his contest on Echo is now pretty flimsy as well. Like, he still has some infantry in there, he gets the zone right now, but with the MX-10s and MX-30s, this can be collapsed now that the Tow Cobras are dead, and Medi has no way of getting units there due to the block on Lima.
Yeah, Medi didn't get the infantry fight that they wished for, obviously. They had all of their units in this tight clump, and they could have eliminated a bunch of Grenadier Voltigeurs if they had been faced by them. But instead, the troops managed to break through and had to disperse and separate to start taking ground. And on their own, the NG fire teams, even though they have the laws and they can side shot and hurt the tanks and they can hold the positions, the VABs and the Voltigeurs one-on-one were just way too powerful. The military police didn't manage to do anything because they don't have AT weapons, and they were separated from the troops that do have AT weapons. And now that the AMX-30s can methodically break through all of these fortified units here, even a Gazelle cannon coming here for good measure, the Medi's hope here is obviously with the mech. The mech going in right now, CEVs moving into fighting range.
Side shot on the M1IP though.
This
Is painful. M1IP gets another side shot in. Bad movement there with that tank, and that was a bit reckless. Losing the Abrams here is big, as a single one of them can't one-shot most of the enemy units here. So you wanted to have two of them so that they can, like, one salvo down the enemy. The Cavs going in here without support either. I'm not sure what Medi thought he would achieve there against the French anti-tank weapons, but it for sure didn't work out, and this is disaster. Another kill, another loss.
No.
Oh, Medi is throwing it all away here right now. This is devastating. There's nothing on the battlefield right now for Medi. Like, he has a couple of infantry units, but they are all anti-infantry. There's no AT here, but the French have a lot of AMX-30s and AMX-10s. There is only one single Bradley. That's the only, or two Bradleys, one recon, one infantry, but one of them about to go down. That's the only AT he has on the battlefield versus the French armored plop rolling in for the kill now. This is going to be really tough now.
Yeah, I mean, this is buying two snipers and ordering them to the same place, recognizing that they don't have any, Medi doesn't have any recon around here, and this being a huge problem. By the time the recon arrive here, every single one of the tanks that were the core of his force have been destroyed. The Medi took the worst possible engagements here, and not on purpose. Tiberius managed to set up these engagements almost perfectly, and having just streak of bad luck with the and miss micro on what Tiberius happened to buy to counter the southern attack, to the way that the tanks were showing side armor and getting hit twice in a row. All of this was something that looks like bad luck, but this is Tiberius Rancor obviously recognizing what the best positions are for the enemy to start making mistakes.
Yeah, escorts with NX-10Ps now pushing through the south. There's little AT to deal with the light French armored units there. And Tiberius back on a +4 here. Really fast tick now. M1 IPs coming in again. Rolling in here. 2 of them. That's helping out the numbers a bit. But he still has a lot of AMX-30s against to fight. And a lot of Grenadier Voltigeurs here now in this zone as well. And it's Medi who has to breach this zone against this +4 tick. And that is not going to be easy. The south is basically open as well. If Tiberius would want to run through, they could and make it even more uncomfortable. But we have a couple of National Guard fireteam laws here, but they will never get in range. The issue with infantry against the French is that every single one of those tanks has another 20mm autocannon. That is really, really strong because it's slave to the gun and has insane accuracy thanks to that. And that will just shred any National Guard fireteam law trying to run around here.
Yeah, and if anything happens to break through, the VABs have a 90 kph speed off-road and have 50 caliber machine guns. So any kind of breakthrough can be quickly engaged by the VABs, and even if you lose the VABs, it's really kind of worth it because they're only 25 points.
Jaguar AT now also fishing for the M1 IP. Phantoms coming around. Jaguar AT goes back home. Phantoms follow a bit too deep into Mistral and Roland area. And one of them might pay for that. It's lucky, but still no successes there. And Medi needs successes right now. Smoking off right now, but that doesn't really help either. Grenadier Voltigeurs pushing through here now too. We have a couple of M2A1 Bradleys with fire teams coming in. But they aren't really on the perfect ranges here either. They get killed on those ranges one-shot by the AMX-30B2s as well. With their only 3 frontal armor. They will one-shot the enemy, but most likely the shell is gonna reach them before their ATGM reaches the tank, so this is not the perfect thing either. And the +3 still going on here, with the VABs and AMX-30s hunting down the National Guard fireteam leader here, and shooting the military police and fireteam laws now with their 20mm autocannons.
Yeah, this doing the old-fashioned, which is the smoke and get a commander in trick, is always reeks for desperation unless you're doing it to close a very tight game. But yeah, the French, if you allow the French to steamroll and start getting all of their units up, it's really difficult to get them up. The French are really the amazing mid-game division as long as you can engage the enemy with your best units and available here. The IP Abrams are superior in basically almost every way to the AMX-30s, but so if the AMX-30s engage them on max range, or AMX-10s engage them on max range, the IP Abrams will easily win them. But Tiberius has designed this fight in a way that is not going to happen. The IP Abrams constantly have to move in close. They constantly have to risk themselves into getting into the French 80 weapon territory and 750 meters. Not to mention the fact that the AMX-30s are hiding behind the hills and the covers, making it so that if the AMX-30s want to peek out, they can fire on closer range with the kinetic ammunition, which gains AP based on their distance.
Jaguar getting a kill onto another M1 IP. That's might be the second to last M1 IP. Jaguar gets killed down, but if you have to go down to National Guard M1s, then the whole situation starts to shift a good bit as well, as then it also means that due to the National Guard coming with the untrained trait, or the disheartened trait, they come with extra aim time, which means that in these shorter range engagements, the MX-30s will always shoot first and kill the M1 the National Guards before they can shoot back, which will be leading to disaster as well. So you need those M1 IPs, but you don't get any more. Outside, you only get 2 cards, and those are already basically used up here now. So bad times for Medi.
Might get an MX-30. The commanders, but yes.
Gets an M1 IP leader in, but that one, is already low as well. Grandier Voltigeurs most likely gonna fish for that with their AT, and they most likely gonna find it. Yeah, there
Oh
it
no.
goes.
Yeah.
Maddie just driving directly in here. This is not working out, and Maddie just not coming for the right plan for this game.
Yeah, the 24th is a division that I personally like to play aggro because its fundamentals are so slow. It doesn't really have the aggro capacity, so playing it as with the Abrams and with the Bradleys as like aggro mech, it can throw off people pretty easily. I like playing it that way. It's very powerful and ranked because people don't expect it, and then you can transition into some of the best defensive unit compositions in whole of the game. But in these kinds of situations, the Bradleys are expensive. The Abrams are not the most expensive, but they're still relatively expensive here. And the 24th preferential engagement requires a lot of planning. It requires recon. It requires long-range engagements with the ATGMs, and the French are just really good in this close-range brawling. The mortars here are trying to break through some of the sidelines and allowing the American units to start getting in there. But these are not mech rifles. These are not rangers. These are not units that can move up undercover. At the best, you have level 1 or vet 1 standard units with like 6 health.
Yeah, and there we have it. Game called. I don't quite get why Maddie didn't call the Strike Eagle out earlier. The Strike Eagle had some prime targets there, and with the early victory of the air dominance, could have really done some damage there. For sure, also helped out clearing out the buildings. Like, if you have 2 enemy infantry units in a building, 2 strikes of the Strike Eagle can change that situation quite quickly. But the Strike Eagle never was called out. It would also have forced more AA and so on. So I'm not sure why Maddie was so hesitant with that investment, only
I mean,
coming out right at the end of the game where it was already over completely. And yeah, just complete dominance by Tiberius in this game, to be
I
honest.
mean, there's a couple of things here that I think led to the Strike Eagle not getting bought. One of the things is that it is pretty expensive, and a lot of the units that you get for 24th are cheap. You have to save, I believe, 55 points for the next minute to buy your Strike Eagle. So it's and when you're losing stuff this fast, it's pretty tempting to start buying your 45-point infantry squads with the truck. They are 45 points. It's pretty tempting to just quickly buy those guys as soon as you get the points, and then you forget the next second that, damn, I was supposed to have save these points for the Strike Eagle. Number two, the Tiberius bought Roland 2s, which are the shorter range Rolands without the radar sights. And Roland 2s are really bad at targeting the high flying LGB bombers because they don't have the range or the aim speed to do that. The fast max speed fighter bomber can leave the sighting range before the missile goes out. But Medi didn't know that. Medi had no reason to think that these were Roland 2s. They might as well have been Roland 3s. So Medi might have thought that there was a better air defense out there than there actually was.
Yeah, still, I feel like the Strike Eagle had a lot of strong targets there and had a lot of good opportunities as well, especially on Hesse with being a wide map. You also, after getting the kills against the Mirage, know that the enemy doesn't have a fighter up to counter it, and you have the air dominance, meaning that the enemy has to invest even more into AA, forcing even more uncomfortable investments. Sure, not double downing on 2 Strike Eagles there, but in one investment there would have been really helpful. Without it, there was just no way for Medi to uh, clean up house, and without that, there was just no chance for victory here. The south cleanup of Tiberius was really clean. As soon as the toe covers are down, that was sealed, and the north was sealed when Medi didn't find a way of dealing with 2 Grandier voltages.
Yeah. But now up for the next map, which will be played on Death Row.
Yeah, so quick break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with game number 2 between Medi and Tiberius Rancor. So here we go. Tiberius Rancor versus Meddinator, and after clearing and clear victory in game number 1, we are now here on Death Row, which is surprising that this map is getting played here, because usually Medi wants maps that allow for a bit more shenanigans, but this is a pretty straightforward map. And yeah, both bringing pretty standard divisions for each other's playstyle. Medi coming in with 4th, which allows for a lot of forward deployment, a lot of cheap units to bring around. Whilst Tiberius brings in another armored division, this time around the first UK armored, so the heavier division of the two for sure, but with a bit of forward deployment as well. So before we jump in, quick shout out, guys, to the Matcherino page, where you can help fund the prize pool for this tournament, and you don't even have to pay anything to support the prize pool. All you have to do is click the claim code button up here on the top right, and you can add money to the prize pool immediately with that. So that is all doable quite easily there, and you can just click the claim code button up there and add 25 cents. If you want to contribute more, you obviously can do that as well, but that is only on your that is not necessary. Just click the claim code button, guys. Free money for the players.
Protoss is a wizard who conjures up money from nothing. Don't ask how he does it. I believe it's called online marketing, and I don't want to know about it.
And then on the right side, yeah, Medi with 4th versus First UK now. Let's talk about the matchup, and let's talk about First UK and their forward deployment here. What do you think about the Terrier Paras coming in here?
Yeah, so in general, the Terriers Para are a kind of an interesting unit. They are a reservist, not a unsteady, but still like a low vet forward deployment unit with pretty bad stats. They only have a single machine gun, they only have 7.62 weapons, they only have 8 guys, which is all right. And in this case, you also have the Carl Gustav, which is a very good AT launcher. But the thing is, they are very low in availability. So a lot of people take them with on 0 vet. This means that your forward deployment infantry unit isn't really capable of doing attacks, which is often what people want to do with the forward deployment infantry. And but in this case, the way I've been looking at these deployments are that these are actually very conservative usages of the Terrier Para. Personally, I like to do one vet Terrier Para and buy them all at the start and use them as kind of assault squads in combination with the Para Rover Milans and the SAS patrols. But right now, we are not seeing the expensive SAS patrols. We're seeing the way cheaper snipers who can pretty much do the recon game as well. Of course, they're just not as mobile as the special forces units with the sniper rifles are. And all of these very conservative deployments with the forward deployment units here kind of seems that Tiberius wants to build these groups of 1 sniper, 1 Terriers Para, and 1 Para Rover to buy time for the early game. We all know, most likely, that the first UK tanks are not that great, but they most certainly are better than most of the stuff that you can get with the 4th Moto, and you can get way a lot of them. So this forward deployment opener here is one of the most defensive forward deployment openers I think I may have ever seen on Division 1 of the league here. And on the other side, we're seeing Medi do a similarly interesting forward deployment attack, but this time using not the standard infantry spam of the special forces, the Fallschirmjägers, the Fallschirmjäger Metis, but instead using these weapons teams, the SPG-9s and the Fagots. And especially if you look at these the movement patterns or the deployment places for these Fagots, you can see that these are actually going into places where they're kind of designed to pick out any forward deployment units of Tiberius Rancor. So this is actually a kind of an interesting way of both of these players expecting the other one to start the attack. Though on Medi's side with the Fallschirm Einsatztruppen, the false flag units, as well as the SPW-40s and the helicopters, I do think that there is way more offensive potential for Medi. I believe that as soon as some kind of information is gained by Medi is planning to start exploiting this. There are these Strela 1s, carriers, SPW-40s. Generally, Strela 1s suck, bad, bad range, bad accuracy, but these specific ones are deployed with maximum road speed, so they're really fast. And this can compensate for the bad ammo and bad range and bad accuracy. Here we're
Ooh.
already seeing the Strela
First
ones
engagement
being here in the
here.
front.
Not able to hit the tornado though,
No.
and one of the Mi-24D 8As already nearly dead. Where's it flying, Maddie? That is not a good spot to hide in. He's trying to hide it over there, maybe? Oh, the other Mi-24D now attacked by 2 tornadoes, gets shut down. Tiberius does want nothing to do with any helicopters going around.
Oh no,
Oh
the
no,
MiG-23.
MiG-23 coming in. What is this buy-in, Maddie? You already
this is a
know about
bad
the
buy?
tornadoes. Why would that ever come in? What decision-making was that? Like, maybe he thought after killing the helicopter they would move away and already bought it in that moment, but that was just terrible. Oh my goodness, losing a MiG-23 rocket completely for free to the enemy.
But like surely isn't Medi the guy who always opens with 2 fighters? This was an interesting way of.
No, that's MiG-90.
Oh, mixed. Okay, yeah. So it's a different, I believe, Swedish guy. But yeah. So I mean, the Tiberius had the superior planes. So Tiberius investing in those planes, especially when Fourth Moto has a lot of armored helicopters, and the tornadoes are really good at killing helicopters because they have 2 guns and are not as fast as something like the Eagles. So yeah, that investment was pretty logical. Media really fluffing up both the Strela ones not hitting, which is not his fault, of course, but sending the MiG-23 is real bad. But down low here, we're seeing that the Tiberius Para are getting routed after some moderate gunfire from the SPW-40s. The Tiberius Para completely defenseless. And the SPW-40 leader is moving into the enemy backpoint before before Medi's own backpoint has been taken. But on up top, we're seeing that there is literally nothing. There is an IFV. There's some recon units and a tank from Tiberius Rancor's side, and absolutely nothing from Medi's side. This is a situation in which Tiberius could call the bluff, could start to recognize that maybe I have traded so well up here in this opener that I could just get some free ground. But that's a risky play, and Tiberius knows that his division does actually scale way better into the late game. So taking this risky play is not necessarily going to be the best play, even though we, as the casters, know that there's nothing to defend.
Yeah, also, he got rid of both helicopters by now. The other helicopter getting shut down by a javelin, so all the flexible mobile forces of Medi have been decimated. The Strela one's now trying to kill the Hellarm, but yeah, he brought a lot of those fire teams. Those are not mobile. SPG-9s and Fagot teams are not mobile. Strela one, meanwhile, suffering against a Lynx Hellarm, not getting a single missile on target. That's why Strela ones are not that great. They are pretty cheap, but here you should never rely on an individual one of them doing a lot of stuff for you. And the second one now gets a hit in.
They don't one-shot kill. They don't one-shot kill the Hellarms. They only have 4 shots, and they're bad accuracy. So if you don't immediately have munitions behind them, just a tornado flying above them can easily take out half of their ammunition. Tiberius Rancor is investing a lot into the Warrior Upliques. These are the really good IFVs, the British upgraded IFVs with increased armor, and the Milan 2 missile launcher. One of them getting taken out by the Einsatzgruppen up here in the southwestern backpoint. But if enough of these upliques are brought up here, which seems to be the Tiberius's plan, these IFVs can and easily penetrate all of the tanks. And for the price of 60 points, being able to challenge these 80 to 150 point tanks, or even on like the max range of the tank is mostly incapable of fighting against the upliques. And the chieftains up here in the front, or later in the late game, the challengers, they will be able to easily fight off any of these tanks. Medi's investment into the armor is Not
Side
gonna
shot with
be
the
the
Fagot though?
greatest.
No, not quite. MiG-23 HE coming in again, but the Tornado was waiting for it over the Medi spawn. Medi's just really not playing the air game well there. MiG-23 Bomber not really getting any damage in. T-55 trying to deal with the enemy CV here. Conquers ATGM coming around. The T-55 getting killed off by the Warrior Applique. This is not Medi's A game here right now. Gets the Tornado as Tiberius keeps it around for a bit too long there. That was a wasteful usage there of Tiberius. Medi coming in with some ATGM from the Conquerors and the SPG-9, but that MiG-23, another complete waste. And the T-55 leader on the ground here mismicroed a bit as well. SPW will get into the zone again. The Sultan is still alive though, and the center gets consistently choked now by Tiberius as well. Milan 2 and Chieftain outclass all of the stuff that Medi can bring in here, and the Strelas still struggling with Hell Arms, trying to get some kill there. The Conquerors is in a nice spot, gets another Warrior Appliques, but T-55 M2B goes down to the Chieftain, and this is a rough spot now for Medi.
Yeah, this is Medi's strength with these divisions are fast deployed, good infantry. Especially the motorshoots and BTR for the price of 50 are very decent and can basically price-wise and efficiency-wise challenge everything that the British can bring out, both the armored rifles and the regular rifles. But on this map specifically, tank fights and long-range fights are very essential. These zones, especially on the plateau, can be held with tanks and recon.
Important kill there in the middle. Chieftain goes down. Like, this is... And he got some really important kills there right now. With the Chieftain down, there's only the Milan 2 holding this right now. If Medi is now aggressive, this actually could start a position where he can snowball and really attrition nicely in the middle. By the way, Medi's still investing into more Strela 1s, so the seed aircraft of Tiberius here, not that important. The SPG-9 that he had on the hill, absolutely paying off, killing off a couple of warriors, killing off a couple of infantry units as well. And the Fagot gets the CV in the south, so Medi is going to capture that zone completely soon as well. And that's really only the Milan 2, which is out of ammo there. So Medi, if Medi is fast now, could really do some harm in the center now.
Yeah, this is one of those shark tastes blood situations when you recognize that your enemy has maybe overextended or maybe taken a bad engagement overconfidently, and that is when you start and try to take ground, try to exploit the situation. The warrior appliques are being pretty oppressive down south here, especially as the Fagot doesn't have any ammunition, but the Conquerors and the T-55 are in places in which they can actually fight this off. T-55 is zero vet, which means that it'll be problematic trying to reliably first hit kill the warrior appliques if the warrior appliques try to kill it. And even though the Fagot gets a hit on the applique's extra armor does manage to save it from a one-hit kill. And the investment into these expensive, relatively expensive applique and armored rifle squads is an investment into the mid game, but the response of Medi of buying these T-55As, these cheap T-55s, I'm not sure what I think of it. The T-55s are really good at doing soft attack, but with their very limited armor and their limited range and accuracy, I'm not sure they are actually a reliable counter to the IFVs in the way that other tanks would be.
Yeah, meanwhile though, we have Medi killing another Tornado there, setting up potential air dominance in the late game. The ground AA of the first UK is not amazing. Another kill here by the Conquerors. The Conquerors SPW is doing really well. The hidden SPW in the south, with a side shot, that can kill these Warrior Appliques one shot. It's unfortunate there though, with its aims missing twice. Now only the third hit getting on target, and the Warrior Appliques most likely gonna kill it off. Gonna get the kill there. Nice idea there on that hill. Really cool position. Not gonna lie, but not quite working out there for Medi. So, Medi not getting the victory there, but with all the CVs killed, only one chieftain commander moving around. Medi in a decent spot to get some capture points here again. SPW's moving in, +6 here. Tiberius a bit careless with his frontline units there, and now we have only warriors here around, whilst Medi has a decent amount of T-55 and Conquerors, and those Conquerors one-shotting the warrior appliques and having good stealth is really key here.
Yeah, the Conquerors is truly the hero, just totally shutting down most of the points that were put to recapture the southern position were taken by the Conquerors. And now with the armored rifles getting engaged by the T-55s, the armored rifles are going to have to get real close to be actually able to fight them off. And these T-55s up here in the plateau, putting them in a very smart position in which they can't be engaged by the positions in which Tiberius is holding, but they can engage defensively. And as long as Tiberius doesn't capture these tree lines with infantry, capturing those tree lines with infantry is quite difficult at this point, these T-55s can actually get some free kills here.
Yeah, they are pretty good IFVs. They are not great tanks. Like, they have good infantry damage output against infantry and APCs and other IFVs on their range with their main gun, but they are not good at killing other tanks. So for 80 points, which is the price range of IFVs, you kind of should see them as something similar to a normal IFV. A bit extra armor, a bit less anti-tank killing power than an IFV with an ATGM.
The hero Conquerors gets taken out after hitting a front shot against a chieftain leader.
Yeah, the chieftains are the issue here now. We need to find a way for Medi to deal with those, and there is none on the battlefield right now. There might be some in the air coming in. Mi-24D is a solid helicopter. It only has the Phalanga P ATGM though, which is another 17 pen ATGM, which means it doesn't one-shot the warrior appliques. So even if it gets a hit after flying really slowly towards the enemy, it won't get a one-shot kill, which is pretty important. And yeah, we have a +2 for Medi still, but Medi needs to find a way to deal with these chieftains, which become more numerous now. And we don't see that just yet.
Yeah, the chieftain Mark 11 leader was forced to push back from the southern plateau position by the fact that Medi has actually bought an Akatsiya, the heavy self-propelled gun fired at the position right before the Motorschützen and BTR reinforcements moved in and engaged the position. And now Tiberius recognizing that this is a bad engagement to take, chieftains are already slow. If they get hit by a salvo, even if the salvo doesn't do a lot of damage, the speed difference and the rate of fire difference is massive.
All the infantry in the south is dead. The chieftain is moving in, but all things supporting it are dead already. Medi cleaned out a lot of armored rifles, a couple of warriors, and now the chieftain is getting way too close here. That is a range where the T-55s suddenly can start to do damage against it. And they're coming in a bit piecemeal, and the Lynx Hellarm there with the clutch 80 Itos into the side. Oh, that was so important. Otherwise, the chieftain most likely would have gone down here. One T-55 still engaging. It misses its first shot, though. Takes heavy damage in the return fire. And Medi's triple T-55 push there, getting stopped by the Hellarm. Such an important unit there right now. That Hellarm positioning of Tiberius Rancor saving the game here, most likely. Otherwise, with the chieftain down, the whole south would have collapsed here. No question asked. 5 T-55s there would have completely wiped that out.
Yeah, but though at this point Medi does have a pretty good position up here in the plateau, being able to make sure that your enemy can't move into Echo is very risky. Generally on this map, you don't want to take your opponent's side of the plateau range, because a concentration of tanks and vehicles or artillery can easily do damage to you. So these Motorschützen and BTR moving here and trying to prevent the enemy from being able to drive in is pretty risky and speaks of an aggressive tactic. But the SPW-40 Conquerors, with its good stealth, has managed to get itself up here in the tree line to support the Motorschützen and BTR. So this is actually using these two very affordable and pretty cheap units, 50 points and 65 points, using these units in tandem very intelligently and managing to get a lot of value out of them tactically.
Yeah, Chieftain now pushing in. T-55s can't really deal much damage to it. The 15 frontal armor versus the 16 pen means that the T-55 only does minimal damage on long ranges. The Modschützen here though, with a great side shot, stun on the chieftain, so the Modschützen most likely gonna get another shot out. No, smoke comes out just in time. Modschützen could follow into the next building, but then the warriors would eat it alive, so the chieftain most likely gonna survive here after all. T-55, super stressed out, does miss the shot as expected. Meanwhile, MiG-23 rocket coming in the north, doing good damage against the chieftain, but there is not that much support here for Medi. The T-55 AM2B long range, another unit that is not really built to take that engagement. And the rockets that are remaining in the MiG-23, not as hard-hitting as the first couple. So the chieftain does stay alive. Warriors coming in around now. SBW there with little support against the incoming warrior. As there's nothing here that can really shoot at this warrior. MiG-23 BN though, coming on with a lot of bombs, and the chieftain goes down in the end.
AM2 on long range, on low cohesion, the hyper modernized T-55 managed to just to get a shot against the command tank up north.
Ooh, but warrior Bleak pushing through here, and there is an Akatsiya and the SBW to eat alive there. The 120mm mortar, not that important, but the Akatsiya should move. It's still visible. Warrior not wanting to risk it any further right now. Modschützen trying to get closer, but they will get eaten alive by the Rarden, and that is a problem for Medi. Medi needs to get back into the north. Medi needs to keep the take coming, as with 22 minutes still on the clock, there's a lot of time for the heavier division here in the first UK to come back later on. So Medi wants to finish it off early. Me-24D firing against the warrior. Can it find the ATGM hit? No, it can't before going down. And that is devastating. We might see some direct fire shots of the Akatsiya coming out here. No. But this warrior here, that might be holding the north importantly here for Tiberius right now. Keeping the SBW away. Fighting another Me-24D here. And yeah, you can see this ATGM flies so slow and it's so inaccurate as well. Only 40% accuracy, so the warrior actually might win this gunfight here. No, in the end, the ATGM finds a hit. SBW now needs to get in back into the north, but in the same time, Tiberius got a Sultan in there as well, and Medi's really did a lot of grinding here against the enemy, and it's still somewhat on the edge, but I feel like Medi is running out of steam here now, so the +4 in the north is key.
Yeah, it seems like at this point, Medi really just needs to trade well for the next 10 minutes and maybe keep the enemy under pressure for the next 10 minutes. If Medi's gameplay slows down at this point, Tiberius will most likely be able to buy the heavier stuff in the division and then engage everything here preferentially. But there are no coups, there's no heavy anti-air, so the first UK's vaunted air-to-ground capacities might actually start coming in here. The only way for Medi to keep this from spiraling out of control is to keep up the pressure, especially with these kinds of motor shoots in play, in which the Sultan gets killed out. And in the middle, another hero conquers, is engaging and missing the uplink and getting stunned itself, but surviving largely because the Spartan actually smokes out and covers the conquerors while it's stunned. British infantry the armored rifles are not the best unit in the game, but they're very competent with the 2 5.56 machine guns. They can get a lot of damage done, and they can work well with the soft attack power and the recon power of the first UK. The motor shoots and getting taken out one by one, and no infantry reinforcements coming for now. And if you look at the Charlie, the position of the 2-point back
point is so red right now, though. There was a couple of decent kills here a couple of seconds ago for Medi, but now everything gets killed again. He loses all attack helicopters. He loses another bomber here. Gets the tornado damaged at least, but doesn't get it killed. The MiG-29 will have to be careful on the way out. And yeah, he gets pushed out of the center now. No infantry, only ATGMs here. push into the south was ill-advised. There was too much there and too little support for Medi themselves. I feel like the focus onto the north and the center would have done better at this point, but Medi always trying to get everything at once and be everywhere all at once as well, which sometimes works, sometimes costs him dearly as well. He is a risk taker, that's what we're used to from Medi playstyle. But Tiberius currently looking like they are stabilizing. They lost a good amount of leaks in the north to that T55 AM2B, but more are coming in. A couple of T55 AM2s on the other side, but is that enough? I kind of doubt it, as the south is so close to collapsing here for Medi.
No, but the single T55 as well as these reinforcements fagots might actually be able to do that. Getting the kill on the chieftain on the middle here, I can't even. What got it? Was it an airplane? What actually killed the chieftain Mark 11? That was pushing through the southern position of the plateau.
It might have been the Acacia here. Yeah, the Acacia is reloading. It was the Acacia. So
okay, yeah, because this has meant that another chieftain has to move up to the position here, and the Tiberius's push has so far kind of been frozen for the moment. Tiberius is buying more slow units such as chieftains, and obviously at this point every second counts. Medi is 3 minutes 20 seconds from winning with these points. The attack down south is not happening. The fagots are in positions to slow down anything, and attacking alone with the armored rifles, even though they will be able to fight against the East German infantry, any kind of a tank or SPW-70 or even a BMP-1 can stop the infantry attack if it happens on open ground. And yeah, this the Medi is just obviously just trying to slow this down and keep up Tiberius's need to attack. Tiberius wants to stabilize, wants to wait for 5 minutes to build up a proper attack, and Medi is just grasping here for targets for the Acacia, for time for the reinforcements to arrive, and for targets for the MiG-23s, which I would like to point out, it's a 135-point attack plane with the rockets, and it reloads really fast. So every second here kind of counts for Medi.
Yeah, Medi has no forces right now in the south outside of one Fagot, ATGM, and 2 CVs, 1 Mordschützenführer. MiG-23 BN rocket coming in again. Will try to clean out some infantry here. 1 armored rifle will go down. The north gets pushed. Tiberius gets some points there. Medi has a 1,300 point lead, and we are 16 minutes away from the end of the game, so a bit of speed is advised here, but there is a decent amount of points on this map, so you can come back with a late push here on the map if you start to take out the complete enemy team. And Medi's playstyle always leads to him being vulnerable to complete collapses in the end of the game. The MiG-29 from the south not engaging the Jaguar HE as a miss micro Dan Myers as well. Gets some shots onto the Sultan in the north. Oh, Acacia not finding the kill there. Chieftain pushed back, but nothing here around to kill it anymore. The T-55s got whittled down earlier, as the MiG-23 BN rocket comes in for a bit more damage. T-55 AM2 trying to come up, but it's so stressed out. It's gonna struggle even against the Warrior Pleak here.
Yeah, the T-55 AM2s have the upgraded fire control, which gives them really good accuracy and long range, but the speed of 54 kph is just not good enough to be able to avoid a lot of the attacks, especially a lot of the ATGMs. This means that they are going to take cohesion damage no matter what. They can't escape, they can't peek, and even if the 14 armor can make them survive most attacks, the cohesion damage is going to be there. And without something like a concentrated leader or command tank or even military police, the cohesion is going to be there even for the next engagement. And even with the upgraded fire control, T-55's rate of fire is still low.
T-55 AM2 in the north, trying to get some hit onto the Warriors. Both CVs in the south destroyed of Medi, so if Tiberius gets a CV into Charlie. It's gonna be troublesome for Medi. Medi on the hunt for the Sultan in the north, though. Sultan still in trouble. Motschützen and T55 finding another kill onto another warrior Pleak up north. It's about the south now, though, for Medi. Medi bringing in some Motschützen with BMP-1s there as safety units. They have the Malyutka ATGM, which has decent range, terrible penetration, terrible accuracy, terrible speed. But it costs only 30 points, and it has an ATGM of some sort. So it can be somewhat annoying. Chieftain actually might get side-shotted here. Ooh, it's so close. No, only gets some stress. Acacia, once more fishing for the Sultan. The question is, how many CVs are there in both decks at this point? As both have taken heavy casualties on their CV number. And there's a damaged Chieftain and damaged Sultan on the map right now. And that's all, and that might be all that is there for Tiberius. So if Tiberius loses the Sultan, if Tiberius loses the Chieftain, it might be game.
Yeah, the Sultan, unlike the Chieftain leaders, the Sultan does actually have proper speed of 72 kph. So even a low cohesion, it can escape getting fired at by the artillery. The Sultan also has 2 front and side armor, so that gives it just a little bit extra survivability against getting targeted. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. The SPW 40s are more vulnerable, but way faster command units. So the kind of peaking gameplay in which the units have to retreat and then come back moments later with reinforcements, this is something that Fourth Moto can do. Oh, the Chieftain Mark 11 getting stunned by the 3 T-55s, them battering its front armor with their cannons, forcing it down on low cohesion once again, and having the tank...
double hit with the Jaguar, though. The Jaguar getting one killed, one completely down to 1 hit point and super low cohesion. Really important bombing run there. The preemptive fire of the Acacia also not quite getting the Sultan killed. T-55 AM2 there in the north struggling as well. +2 situation here for Tiberius, but +2 will not quite be enough, though obviously, as I said, this can...
there is another card of leader. A BMP-1 leader is... So there is another card of leaders in Medi's deck that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and Medi still has 2 CVs also in the north who quite close next to each other. Not sure if that should be situated like that right now. The Sultan still moving. The Acacia firing onto something else right now. And yeah, the Chieftain leader of Tiberius getting repaired right now. Medi still kind of fishing for that. MiG-23 rocket coming in for the warriors in the north. AA on both sides completely shut down. The 240mm rockets not landing quite on target there, so not really W that was hoped for there by Medi. But yeah, coming in for more. The Chieftain leader getting repaired is really important right now for Tiberius, because that was really close to being shut down, and yeah, there's no other CVs on the battlefield here right now next to it and the Sultan, and you kind of want to have both alive. If you only have one, then the enemy can just run around with their CVs as well and keep you constantly running as well. So at this point, with only 10 minutes remaining, losing either would be really frustrating and give
Fourth Moto's signature unit, the Fallschirmjäger Metis, is finally out. Nowadays, not anywhere near as useful with the Metis range nerf, but still a formidable unit, especially on this close range defense against these warrior appliques.
Tornado coming around. T-55 has to be careful. Yeah, disengages against the Chieftain. As we see Tiberius pushing in now. We see more T-55s coming in. An RM-70. That is most likely fishing for the Sultan as well. Jaguar missing the BMP-1. I have no idea what that bombing run was. Will get damaged a bit by the Shilka, but not to a certain amount. Though it's so much more armor here for Tiberius. Like, I feel like killing the civis is the only way Medi can win this game. Yet that is still possible. RM-70 closing in. Medi losing way too many units. Medi in late games is just not good at trading at all. It's really not his strength. But sneaking in late games, that is his strength, and that he tries to do here as well. T-55 AM2 engaging against the Chieftain. Doesn't get the kill though, gets killed off, and Medi CVs here now getting overrun, and this is close to the end here.
Yeah, Tiberius managing to fight off the couple of motorshoots and BTR that were trying to take control of the southeast corner of Echo. If this had happened, if there hadn't been those upleaks, or if there was just an extra T-55 or something, the BMP-1 could right now be in Echo trying to prevent the point bleed. But at this point, yeah, the trading just hasn't been good enough for Medi. Having to buy these these Fallschirmjägers here, kind of smells of desperation a little bit. The fourth moto has run through a lot of its units fast, and that's kind of the point. But you're supposed to do that when you're on the attack, when you actually gain something out of it. And at this point, even if nothing else happened, Tiberius would win this map at this point. But the four-man rifle squad has actually managed to walk through to the back point.
CV killed in the south.
What was that? Oh, that was
but
funny.
The one in the north is still alive. Arm 17 not in range to shoot that. Or not in position to shoot that. T-55 is trying to push up there, but they are failing. This makes it interesting again. Does Tiberius have another CV outside of that Sultan? Otherwise, if Medi can do some Medi magic, but it's so tough. He has so little in the north now. And I'm not sure why the Arm 17 never went for it. Arm 17 now going for some close engagements, but it's way too close fire. Yeah, minimum range applying there. It needs to go further away. Can't shoot into that bush. Coop coming up. BMP's coming up. Medi needs to hunt for that Sultan. There is no other CV on the battlefield. I don't think there is one left in Tiberius' deck. Tiberius still on the +4, but Medi is not on the hunt for the Sultan. Or is he? Modfit's now actually moving now in the north. Sultan moving forward. If that gets sniped, then all Medi has to do is getting his CV into either of the center zones, which also is easier said than done at this point, but it is possible. The Sultan is moving forward. It might get spotted in a second here by the mod of there. T-55 AM2 also moving into a spot where it can snipe it. Oh, this is still clutch. It's surprisingly clutch. It's a classic Medi game.
Theoretically, if there was a helicopter, there is no anti-air outside of airplanes protecting the Sultan. So theoretically, if there were helicopters, even recon helicopters, this could actually happen.
Yeah, he mismicroed the helicopters a bit too much early on though. Sultan trying to rotate around a bit now. More Modschützen trying to move forward. T-55 AM2 reveals itself with a good hit against the Chieftain, but still it reveals itself, meaning that it can't ambush the Sultan on its own. Sultan still moving. There's nothing else to spot it here right now. This is problematic. Modschützen moving forward. BMP under fire there. There is defensive units everywhere now. There's Challenger Mark 3s rolling in. Sultan running over the open field. Gets spotted. Is there a plane for it? There is no plane for it. Medi, what is going on? Why is there no unit to kill this? Where's the Medi magic? Where is it? It's not coming in.
Medi is doing a counterattack down south, pushing to this...
But nothing coming in for the Sultan. I mean, the mod outclarer actually saw it here. It's coming in. It's in the zone. It's a +6 now, and that will take up the game real quickly here now. This is not gonna be Medi's game here in the end. As we're now gonna go up to +8.
No, the Motorschützen got targeted by the Chieftains. No, it could have theoretically gotten close enough with those buildings, but now the Sultan recognizing that this is a risk and running off.
Yeah, much of it's now clear in the north get found as well. Sultan.
Oh, the RM70. The RM70 is aiming.
Yeah, but the points, it's gonna take up too much. So Medi needs to get a tick afterwards, and I don't see him getting a tick afterwards. Arm 70 coming in for the Sultan, but Medi is gonna be behind in points. Arm 70 also not hitting well right now. Modschützen coming up in here, but it's only 4 minutes. The Sultan's still alive. Yeah, a single Arm 70 not enough to deal with this 10 hit points.
It was cancelled. The salvo was cancelled midway through.
And the BMP-1K, another SPW-70 rolling in for the middle, but the Chieftain most likely... Oh, gets killed off by the Modschützen. Okay, that saves this one, but Tiberius is now ahead in points. And the Sultan is still alive.
Oh,
Challengers went into defensive positions. Oh. Does he see it? He sees it. He kills it.
hallelujah!
But it's 4 minutes. And Maddie needs some points.
No, no, just the SPW40 just needs to get in just somewhere, just break through. Oh, the chieftain protecting the corner of Echo was driven off by the salvo. So now there's free range for the SPW40 to get in there.
Yeah, BMP1
Medi
should
has
move in
not.
that direction as well, but the SPW is maybe even moving for the south. Only 1 minute 45 though, so Maddie needs some points quickly here now. The
BMP is
BMP not moving, I don't know what's going on there. This is Maddie. Where are the Maddie reflexes? This is
They didn't realize how little time there is left. They're not moving the existing leaders. They're buying more leaders. Okay, the SPW40 gets rerouted. Chieftain is getting into the motor shooting range and easily
no,
gonna get.
SPW is moving away again. Maddie, you need to move fast. It's not even on fast move. It's not even moving over the roads.
No.
What the hell, Maddie? You have 1 minute 12 seconds. BMP1 is now moving in. Chieftain gets sniped. 3 minutes to go. Ah, the SPW is not fast moving. This is frustrating right now. It's now fast moving over the road. Fallschirmjäger Maddie is there under attack. BMP coming in. There's no CV on the other side. 53 seconds. Okay, I think the BMP might do it in time, though there is a challenger now. There is a challenger now holding that corner. Modschützen trying to move forward.
Ooh.
The BMP 1K doesn't have smoke. There is still an armored rifle in the south. The SPW will run into an armored rifle.
The BMP rerouted! No!
43 seconds. SPW goes down before it can neutralize.
We're gonna take it out. No,
And the BMP needs to get in there, but it won't. 25 seconds. It started to move too late. The move command came in too late here. And it would still need more afterwards because Tiberius is up now 400 points. So even then, Maddie, with only 2 minutes remaining, couldn't even make up the points. It would only stop the take. So Tiberius wins another deserved victory here. And Maddie with another magic Maddie game here, but not quite with the Maddie magic to get the victory.
No, the BMP won. The BMP one did not. It's not even a moral victory. The BMP one didn't manage to get it. Oh no, that sure was something.
It was a classic Maddie game for sure. It was a Tiberius outcome in the end, though. And with that, if we look at Division 1 a bit into the standings here, the situation is not looking hot for Maddie right now. That's Season 1. Let's go for Season 2.
Oh.
As Maddie at this point is a bit behind the curve. Oh, we have to put in the results there, but there were a couple of other games. Maddie versus Chai-chan was a draw. And Maddie versus Tiberius Rancor now was a victory for Tiberius. So I don't think we had the Stahlbrecher versus Meddinator game now. That could be important as Tiberius won against Stahl as well. So that could be important here. Meanwhile, Tiberius on the way to victory with 3 victories here in the end. He drew against Stahl. So did he drew both against Stahl and Chai-chan? Okay. Okay, then that is okay. That this group is then coming down to the Chai-chan versus Stahl game, which I don't know if that happened already. We're gonna see that soon though. Yeah, a lot of interesting games, and yeah, more to cover here soon. And yeah, thanks for everybody for watching for today, guys. As I'm gonna hop out. Will you go on streaming, Mr. Chloride?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna turn on my stream right as I can get some clothes on. So just wait for a second here.
Yeah, we're gonna send you over to Mr. Chloride's channel.
I'm just gonna turn on the.
Yeah, what's the outcome of that, Stahl? It was we casted it Thursday, right? I forgot. I actually didn't have an eye on Division 1 Chalong this season. Okay. So Chai-chan winning versus. So we have the full group then. with Medi and Stahl drawing, which means that Chai-chan and yeah, that's what I had in mind. That's why I was like, Medi needs a victory here to move on or get a tiebreaker, because this finishes the group this way. Yeah, you can do that. So we have some other games played as well, guys. So don't you worry. These guys played their games by now. We just didn't have the salon filled up yet. But yeah, good games here. Unfortunately, Mix90 tapping out because he's needed a strike team, and strike team members are not allowed to play on vanilla anymore. And they're not allowed to play in strike team version either, but especially not vanilla. So yeah, Mix90 had to drop out of the tournament.
So my stream is starting. Actually started now, 30 seconds ago. So if you need to do something,
I'm gonna head out here now, as I have some other appointments to meet, flying some aircraft in Isle 2. And yeah,
I see.
I will send you all over now to Mr. Glory channel for some more Warno love. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for following. Thanks Potty, Tankol, and Tanka for the subscriptions. And yeah, I'll leave some love over at Glory channel. A lot of fun there, guys. See ya.